Alex and Jason every day. That's what we call SuperRoboPlay. Alex and Jason every day. That's what we call SuperRoboPlay. Welcome to Mario's Misconnections. I think this is 25, but we get them wrong.
We get really,
now.
yeah, it's
we
not
get them
good.
all wrong. So we're gonna do New York again because New York is a great city. And fucking hell, Jason! Before this, I told Jason how to do this. And I said, "Don't die," and he still dies. He's never gonna get the bunny now because he doesn't learn.
Oh god, I love seeing you get so mad. It makes me happy.
Well, you'll never get it now. Do what I said. Oh, he's so slow.
Whatever.
Reaction times of an old gopher. So we're doing New York again. Misconnection. Man for woman. I saw you on the Manhattan-bound Brooklyn train. I was wearing a blue striped t-shirt and a pair of maroon pants. You were wearing a vintage red skirt and a smart white blouse. We both wore glasses. I guess we still do. You got on it. Blake is coming in here.
Link, get out of here.
You got on at DeKalb and sat across from me, and we made eye contact briefly. I fell in love with you a little bit, in that stupid way where you completely make up a fictional version of the person you're looking at and fall in love with that person. But still, I think there was something there.
What?
Several times we looked at each other. Several times we looked at each other, and then looked away. I tried to think of something to say to you. Maybe pretend I didn't know where I was going and ask you for directions or say something nice about your boot-shaped earrings or just say, hot day. It all seemed so stupid. At one point, I caught you staring at me, and you immediately averted your eyes. You pulled a book out of your bag and started reading it. A biography of Lyndon Johnson, but I noticed you never once turned a page. My stop was Union Square, but at Union Square I decided to stay on, rationalizing that I could just as easily transfer to the 7 at 42nd Street. But then I didn't get off at 42nd Street either. You must have missed your stop as well, because when we got all the way at the end of the line at Ditmer's, we both just sat in the car.
It's a fucking novel?
I cocked my head at you inquisitively. You shrugged and held up your book as if that was the reason. Still, I said nothing. We took the train all the way back down. Down through Astoria, across the East River, weaving through Midtown, from Times Square to Herald Square to Union Square, under Soho and Chinatown, up across the bridge back into Brooklyn, past Barclays and Prospect Park, past Flatbush and Midwood and Sheepshead Bay, all the way to Coney Island. And when we got to Coney Island, I knew I had to say something. Still, I said nothing, and so we went back up and down the queue line over and over. We caught the rush hour crowds and then saw them thin out again. We watched the sunset over Manhattan as we crossed the East River. I gave myself deadlines. I'll talk to her before Newkirk. I'll talk to her before Canal. Still, I remained silent.
Jeez, man.
For months, we sat on the train saying
What
nothing
the
to
hell?
each other. We survived on a bag of Skittles sold to us by kids raising money for their basketball teams. We must have heard a million mariachi bands. Had our faces nearly kicked in by 100,000 breakdancers. I gave my money to beggars until I ran out of singles. When the train went above ground, I'd get text messages and voicemails. Where are you? What happened? Are you okay? Until my phone ran out of battery. I'll talk to her before daybreak. I'll talk to her before Tuesday. The longer I waited, the harder it got. What could I possibly say to you now that we've passed the same station for the 100th time? Maybe if I could go back to the first time the queue switched over to the local R line for the weekend, I could have said, well, this is inconvenient. But I couldn't very well say it now, could I? I would kick myself for days every time after you sneezed. Why hadn't I said bless you? That tiny gesture could have been enough to pivot us into a conversation, but here in a stupid silence we sat. There were nights when we were the only two souls in the car, perhaps even on the whole train, and even then I felt self-conscious about bothering you. She's reading her book, I thought. She doesn't want to talk to me. Still, there were moments when I felt a connection. Someone would shout something crazy about Jesus, and we'd immediately look at each other and register our...
He didn't triple jump. I jumped 3 times. He didn't jump.
I did that too.
What the hell? Weird. What is with this guy, though?
Still, there were moments where I felt a connection. Someone would shout something crazy about Jesus, and we'd look immediately at each other to register our reactions. A couple of teenagers would exit, holding hands, and we'd both think, young love. For 60 years we sat in that car, just barely pretending not to notice each other. I got to know you so well, if only peripherally. I memorized the folds of your body, the contours of your face, the patterns of your breath. I saw you cry once, after you glanced at a neighbor's newspaper. I wondered if you were crying about something specific. or just the general passage of time, so unnoticeable until suddenly noticeable. I wanted to comfort you, wrap my arms around you, assure you I knew everything would be fine, but it felt too familiar. I stayed glued to my seat. One day, in the middle of the afternoon, you stood up as the train pulled into Queensboro Plaza. It was difficult for you, the simple task of standing up. You hadn't done it in 60 years. Holding onto the rails, you managed to get yourself to the door. You hesitated briefly there, perhaps waiting for me to say something, giving me one last chance to stop you. But rather than spit out a lifetime of suppressed, almost conversations, I said nothing, and I watched you slip out between the closing sliding doors. It took me a few more stops before I realized you were really gone. I kept waiting for you to re-enter the subway car, sit down next to me, rest your head on my shoulder. Nothing would be said. Nothing would need to be said. When the train returned to Queensboro Plaza, I craned my neck as we entered the station. Perhaps you were there, on the platform, still waiting. Perhaps I would see you, smiling and bright, your long gray hair waving in the wind from the oncoming train. But no, you were gone, and I realized most likely I would never see you again. And I thought about how amazing it is that you can know somebody for 60 years and yet still really not know that person at all. I stayed on the train until it got to Union Square, at which point I got off and transferred to the L.
What?
So far and above, that was the longest misconnection we have ever read on the show. 6.5 minutes of solid reading.
What was that? What happened at the end there?
I'd like people to think and pause it about what that means, about what the person was trying to say with that misconnection.
Yeah.
Obviously, a bit more metaphorical, a little less silly.
A little less like, hey, I want to be drained. So
but this is a real misconnections that was on Craigslist. And
really?
I wanted to read that. Yeah, real misconnection, man for woman. I think everybody should sit and think about what that one might mean. Now on to the silly ones. Cute lady in Gemini Diner.
I don't know.
Man for woman. Oh, you want more serious ones?
I don't know. It doesn't feel right to...
Should we just talk? We'll stop. No more misconnections. That was the only one for this episode.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
No, I was going to keep going.
About love?
Coach you how to beat this goddamn Mario level.
Love,
just
life.
Go around this.
Yes. And then, I wanna...
If people would like to hear my thoughts about what that might mean, it's the idea that you shouldn't hesitate. And that's the whole fucking, I wouldn't say the theme of this show, but misconnections in general. Don't let opportunities slip through your fingers.
Yeah.
Seize them. Why wouldn't you?
If you want something, just go for it.
Well,
so many of these, though.
You don't want to be an old man wishing you had done something that you easily could have.
Yeah.
Those coins on the slides, grab those ones. There's 5 of them. You want to go to the very top.
Well, I'm going to get the start at the very top first. Maybe I can come back and do that after.
Sure.
Get the easy start. I don't know what happened last time, though, just that triple jump. Yeah, it was the exact same issue that you had earlier.
Yeah, I was giving Jason a little run through because I didn't want him to go back to battle the bullies and try to...
Oh, no, whatever.
It's gonna happen again. There's coins on the stairs that you might want to grab.
I'm just going to duck out in here and wait for this guy to pass me by. But if that was a girl, I wouldn't let her pass me by. I'd be like, hey.
I hope everybody appreciated my choice
I think that...
of a change in tone. Run through this fast.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. A little change of pace. I saw that on Tumblr, that post. It's from Brooklyn.
Interesting.
Little short story someone decided to write up on Craigslist.
Yeah. And again, it's like...
Well appreciated.
We see a lot of, like... I don't know, really awful things posted on Craigslist misconnections.
Regular.
Yeah, it's not my intention. It's just doing that. There we go. But no, there's a lot of like really shitty things posted on there. Just people like, hey girl, I saw you at the Starbucks and I like your booty shorts. And it's like, well, no, let's just come on, camera, work with me here.
Come
on. But yeah, it's just like, I think that was a little wordy, but you know, it's kind of sweet. Sorry, I'm just concentrating on getting this start, because I didn't want to fuck that up. I did it.
And maybe back out and get that bunny.
I don't know, do you want to try and get the bunny?
Yeah, I'll get it in one try.
You get the bunny. But no, I wonder if... Is Misconnections the right place for that sort of thing, though?
Yes.
Is it?
Because we just read it on our popular internet show.
I guess they won. He got what he wanted.
You wanted fame.
You can't sneak. He sees you. You're no Solid Snake.
I just didn't want him to run the other direction, that's
Yeah.
all.
He wants to be one way. It was the other way.
Ooh,
Alex. The reaction of an old man who's then become a young man again. Damn it. Fuck.
He's not to do that into a wall like you did the last episode, 2 episodes ago. So there's a star, and maybe we'll wrap it up there, but everybody, have a good listen to those words that I said.
It's important.
Love.
Life. Experience of loving.
Stars. Isle Delfino.
Oh, wow, another power star.
Clean up the garbage.
Mario gains more courage from the power of the castle.
He wouldn't.
He has so much courage.
He'd say, "It's me, Mario!" on the train. He'd be, "It's me!"
It's just like, I'm done here.
Go away!
Goodbye.